Hello, 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 and welcome. I believe I am live, so I'm going to keep talking anyway and try not to put green circles in my eyes. I'm wearing my glasses today. I've got my notes here and ready. So welcome back to part 3 of the trilogy. This trilogy is specifically designed to get you seen, to get you heard, to get you out there. And it's filled with lots of juicy nuggets and tips on how you can start to put yourself out there, start to shine, or continue to shine. So here's who this is really for, this trilogy is for. Some of you are getting started. You're just kind of figuring out what you want to do, especially now things have eased here in the UK. So you're thinking, well, okay, I need to kind of ramp it up, start putting myself out there. Some of you have been doing what you've been doing for a long time, and you've maybe continued throughout the pandemic to do that, and that's great. There's a certain level of visibility that you will need to get yourself out there and turn it up a notch or two. Some of you have been in business for a long time, quite comfortable with being visible, but maybe you've changed what you've done. You've tweaked it, got clarity on it, maybe got a new audience on there. So for those of you, this is also helpful too. And then there are many of you out there who are experts in your field, you're well known, and you want to be even more known. You want to create a massive ripple effect. So if you are in any of those categories, this is definitely for you. If you're into kind of forceful sales tactics, twisting people's arm, manipulative language patterns, then you might as well stop watching now, because that's not what I'm about. It's not what the people that like and enjoy my work and use my work are about. And you're probably not going to get anything from it, because if you coerce, persuade and twist somebody's arm to do something, once you let go, they can twist it back themselves. So day one was all around the head and the way to think about being visible, the way to think about putting yourself out there. Day two was really more about the passion, how to convey passion and credibility without having to hammer it down someone's throat all the time. And in that, I shared some of the kind of ways to look at things in terms of what you can share. Now, today is all about the doing, some like practical things that you can do to put yourself out there even more than you have been. And there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. And the feedback loop is you're out there, you're busy, then nothing. And then you get a bit busy or a bit of interest, then nothing. If that's the case, the issue, if I was to diagnose it like a doctor, would be around the consistency of that. Now, if you're watching this, there are 3 places that I'm simultaneously streaming this to right now. Either you're watching this on the Queen of Being Seen Facebook page, and if you are, do drop a comment below. Send me a love heart or a thumbs up so I can see that you're watching there. I would love to know. You could be watching this in my Facebook group, which is the Visibility Vibes Tribe. And, some of you recently have joined the group and said, in order to be visible, I need more information. I'd like to know a bit more about the specific type of information you want. Information is a broad piece, so I'd love to hear more from you on that. So do engage and do interact. And if you're watching in the Vibes Tribe, hop over to to my Facebook page, which you can find using @VisibilityVibes or Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen, and come and comment, come and interact. These little mini trilogies are 30 minutes from start to finish. So I hand you some nuggets. These will stay up for 5 days after the day of viewing. So the one from Tuesday will disappear by Sunday, and so on and so forth. Now, the other place that you might be watching this is on my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, where I share lots about being visible, raising your professional profile and putting yourself out there. But ultimately, I want you to be seen, to be heard, to be noticed, to be visible, and to be ready to do it at any time you want to, anywhere, kind of literally any place you want to, without restrictions, and just to be ready to go and not have that feeling that many of you tell me that no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do a video. I don't want to do a live. I don't want to speak. I'm not an expert. Any of those things that you've previously told yourself. So yesterday, when I talked about passion, I talked about 3 ways to share what you do. And one of those ways was by speaking more about what you love, what you do and what you love. And often people have this kind of dichotomy. If I share anything private about myself, anything personal about myself, it's going to be too much information. How do I do it? And then others will get kind of stuck in the whole, well, it's not professional to do it. If I talk about my children, or if I'm on a Zoom call, or if I'm on a video, or doing a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live or LinkedIn Live for that matter, and one of my kids runs in the background, then I am not credible, I'm not professional. And that simply isn't true. And I tell you why. If there's one thing that the last kind of 13 months or so has shown us, people want connection. They do want contact. They do want connection. Many people, including people that might be your potential customers, didn't do well with being socially distanced, separated and hidden, and especially made to keep apart from the people that they love, the most near and dearest. So if, as part of your business, you're a business that helps people, i.e. you offer a service, you can't say, have a look at these glasses, try them on for size, see what you think, and if you like them, buy them, and if not, don't. Then what you might want to do is to start talking more about how you help people and connecting more. And I went through all of that kind of, or different ways to do that yesterday and even the day before. So today I'm going to talk about the actual things to do. And I'm going to share a couple of things that you could do. Now, one of the reasons that people get kind of tied up in this conversation is they look for a box to fit themselves in so that they can be visible. And I don't think visibility works like that. In fact, the thousands of people that I've worked with over the years have expressly shown me that by the results that they get. They come to me for one thing and they usually get that thing and so much more. And it usually stems from more confidence, more gravitas, more credibility, more business, more clients, new audiences, new eyes on their work, a newfound way of talking about their business. And I absolutely love that. But if you're not sure about how to articulate what you do, it makes it really hard for people to find you, see you, hear you, and buy from you ultimately. Now, if they see you kind of, but they don't really hear you, it means that they haven't got a clue what you're talking about. And most people are far too polite to say, haven't got a clue what you're talking about, I'm off, I'm going somewhere else. So this is worth doing a kind of a self-inventory, if you like, a self-check, a self-audit to find out whether you're in this place. The other thing that stops people from sharing very clearly is confusion. You may have heard the term a confused mind never buys, but actually a confused mind also doesn't really understand where somebody's coming from, why they should even take part in it, why they're the person that's speaking to them about this. And what often happens is they'll make up their own mind, they'll make assumptions, and usually their assumptions will be incorrect. So you have the opportunity to have clarity when you're sharing what you do. One of the ways that I would invite you to be very practical about this is to map out some sort of clear vision, either a vision or an intention, a path to follow, even a new thing that I've just made up, or a journey, Map out something like that. Don't map it out based on what someone else does in their business. Map it out based on what your desires are, who your audience are specifically, exactly what you want for your business, and particularly how you're going to do it in a way that demonstrates your credibility. And that could mean that the people that you need to work with are in the same field as you. Well, then get in there, be credible. Or they might be somewhere completely different. Well, get out there and get in front of them. It's as simple as that. It really is. Once you've got the clarity on that, you then, like many of the people that work with me, they're polymaths. They do lots of different things. They are skilled in lots of different areas, but there's normally a common golden thread. And if you don't know what your golden thread is, this will definitely slow you down. This will give the illusion of you not being clear. This will give you the illusion of being all things to all men. And when it comes to being visible, It'll also give the illusion that you're indecisive, can't make up your mind, changing what you're doing every 5 minutes. Hands up if you've ever seen a business that does that. 1 minute they're about this thing, the next minute they're about that thing, and then that other minute they're about this completely different thing. So work out what your golden thread is to be able to pull all of those together. So how do you do this? Because I promised you like practical ways and practical tips, and I'm just going to double check that this is streaming as it should be. Let's have a look. See if it shows me up on my secondary device. Worth a check. It doesn't look like it is, so I don't know whether I'm even broadcasting live. So my hope is that you will at least get to see the replay of this. Otherwise that would be really weird. I'm just going to see if there's another indicator that will say oh yes, I think I am live now. Okay, brilliant. So if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, type comments below, interact and engage. And after this broadcast is finished, I'll just go over and check and acknowledge what you've shared. So first thing, share clearly what you do. Here's some practical things that you can do. And even for those of you who've been at it for a long time, we can be the worst. We can get really complacent and forget to check, update, tidy up, or something else. So for a platform like Facebook right here, you will likely, if you've been doing this for a while, you likely have a personal profile and a business page. This will be the same if you're over on Instagram. Hopefully you'll have a business profile rather than trying to juggle two. If you're on LinkedIn, you'll have one type of profile. Some of you would have built up a business profile, but the word's out, the jury's out on whether that's actually necessary or not. Although I don't claim to be a LinkedIn expert, I know my way around LinkedIn quite well. And then there are all the other social media channels. There's Twitter, there's Pinterest, for some of you, depending on the type of business you have. And then there's like YouTube. Think of YouTube. It's the best place for you to share your video content, let people know what you do, and reach, completely new audiences. But again, if you don't have a vision or don't have a plan, it doesn't matter which of these social media platforms you visit, you'll end up having the same issue. Being invisible, not being able to reach your audience, not being able to build the business, and not being able to demonstrate your credibility unless you're kind of shouting, hey, look at me and I'm wonderful all the time, which does give people an inkling of what you do. But that isn't really going to cut it. Not really going to give you consistent visibility. And what I hear in people when they just start working with me, they either feel like they've had enough, they either feel like they want to they're on a burnout, or they just feel like they want to pack it all in because they're not excited by what they do anymore. And if your passion goes, it's really hard to try and get it back. So you don't want to be doing that. So a couple of things to make sure you do. Go and check your personal profile and check what it says for employment. Now, if you have a business, it should not say School of Life, living life and loving it, or any of those twee kind of expressions. It should simply be linked up to your business page. Now, I've known of people who've had big businesses, kind of bigger followings, who haven't realised that they haven't even made that connection. And the reason that people will do this is they'll tell you they want their personal life and their professional life separate. But if you have a business and it's your place of work, then you need to link them together. What this means is that whatever you do here on Facebook, as an example, and wherever you go on Facebook, if somebody gets curious about who you are and what you do, it takes one click on your profile. They can see your picture of your face, not your logo. Let me say that again, a picture of your face, not your logo. They can see where you work, and it's hyperlinked. They can click on it and go straight through to where you are. Do you know how many people, like whether they work with me or not, they come to webinars or masterclasses that I host, how many people don't do this? This is the easiest way for you to be hiding. Let me give you an example. Let's say Mary is about to host a series of podcasts. or a series of interviews. And when you check Mary out privately, even though Mary thinks no one's really watching apart from on their business activity, maybe on their LinkedIn profile, when you check Mary's profile, it doesn't even say that they have a website, that she has a website. It doesn't even say that she has a business page. It doesn't even tell you that she has a business. Yes, if you're doing a Facebook Live or a live anything, remember to put your phone on Do Not Disturb. So get rid of that and stop that from ringing. So if Mary has this this page and she's got a business and people don't know that she's got a business, then you're missing a huge opportunity to help people connect the dots in what you do. It could be that the people that see your personal profile, and this includes friends, family members, as well as kind of strangers from the internet, make it easy for them to hook up and see what you do. So they'll look at the page, they'll see you've got something going on, they'll go over to your business page. If you don't have a business page, I highly recommend you get one, even though I know people are saying, but the algorithms, not many people look at it. People will look at it if you put content on it, keep it interesting and keep them engaged. Okay, everybody started with no followers and then it goes to 1 or 2 or maybe more. So most importantly, make sure that it shows on your personal profile here on Facebook that you have a business, you have a website, you have somewhere else where you talk about what you do. And this is quite interesting because frequently I get booked for a lot of speaking. I've also been approached numerous times now by researchers and producers for BBC, for example. By the time they've got to me, they've normally done some sort of like searching around. They've done their homework and they can normally tell me what they think I do based on what is out there online. So if somebody looks at your profile and they don't know where you work, they don't know what you do, then you are losing a very easy opportunity to be visible. Now, let's just say that LinkedIn's your thing. On LinkedIn, it's a similar sort of thing where you can refer to where you work to. You don't have to have a business kind of page, a special page for that necessarily, but it will allow you to link. Allow you to link to your website. It'll even allow you to link to another social media channel or to a free gift or something like that if that's what you're offering. So remember to use those spaces. Don't just ignore them. And for those of you that are new on Clubhouse, I only joined Clubhouse in January, and I co-moderated a room with for a really wonderful woman with some equally wonderful co-moderators as well. And afterwards, when we went to share online, discovered that on one of them, where they had linked to their Instagram account, for example, where they'd linked to that and changed something around on Instagram, the link then breaks. So it meant that all these people are drinking up the juicy nuggets that this person shared on Clubhouse. They go to their profile, they go to click, and then they can't get through. So I'm not suggesting that people do this on purpose. Sometimes it's an accidental thing. So it's worth having a kind of, like I say, a self-audit, going around your social media posts, making sure that your links work, maybe getting, if you've got an assistant or something, get an assistant to do that for you kind of once a week, once a month, however, just to make sure that everything links, but make sure that you're always introducing somebody to someone else. So I'm just going to go back a second and check out something. Yes, okay. I can see people hopping on and hopping off, so that gives me some level of comfort that that this is here. And like I say, this will be here for 5 days and then it will disappear. So do make sure that you you kind of save these, go back and watch them before they go. So LinkedIn, same thing. Make sure that people know that you're in business. Somebody should be able to look at your social media profile and know that you have a business. You shouldn't have to make it hard for them. They should never have to jump through hoops. They should never have to try and find you. Hey, morning, Alan. Thank you for commenting, because now I know that everything is working in the way that it should. So thank you so much for that. So maybe you're on Twitter. Again, you've got a line to put your website. You can put a link tree a Linktree link. If you don't know what that is, just Google it, you'll find it. So you can put that on there. Again, on Instagram, make use of as much of the platform that you prefer. But here's the biggest myth about being visible. The myth is that you have to be on all platforms everywhere at all times. And most people don't enjoy that experience. They feel tired, they feel stretched out, they feel kind of like burnt out, they feel just, you know, pulled from pillar to post. So the idea is that wherever you show up, even if it's just one place on social media, you show up consistently and you show up powerfully. You show up powerfully with credibility, sharing what you do, and always being clear on what you do. So if people ask you what you do and you kind of squirm a bit and you're watching this, send me a message to my Facebook page, the Queen of Being Seen page. I have a couple of resources. One of them actually isn't mine, but I have a couple of different resources that you can get hold of. One of those resources of somebody else's work that I know starts really soon. So you have to be quick. Can't sleep on it, can't mull it over for a week because you'll miss the opportunity. And it's free. Okay. So the next thing to do, somebody said to me just yesterday actually that I had talked about the golden thread with them. They did lots of different things and they were being told just to pick one thing. They found it really hard to talk about what they did because it felt like too many things. They felt like they were going on for too long. And I call this, or the struggle with this, not having magic in your message. Now, when you've got some magic in your message, you can normally say in a one-liner what you do in a way that has someone say, ooh, tell me more. I like the sound of that. That's really what you want. You don't want to have the whole kit and caboodle all kind of laid out where you have to read out the whole thing. People don't have time for this. People in business often worry about their clients potentially having the money to pay them. And actually, the thing you really should be worrying about is your potential clients having the time to do the work that you've worked so hard to create, to formulate, to speak about, to shoot videos about, you know, to promote and to get out there. So finding your golden thread is really a really useful way if you know, like many of the people I work with, that you do lots of different things. Okay, golden thread pulls it all together and makes that piece easier. I'm not talking about polished elevator pitches, although you could use those as elevator pitches. I'm talking about a way that you can quickly, clearly and succinctly talk about what you do. Now here's a challenge for you. If you're thinking, yeah, I can do that, I like to use Facebook as an example for this. On your Facebook personal profile, it gives you a space to write a bio. And in that space, you have 100 characters. So that includes any, you know, punctuation or any spaces. If you can write in there what you do in 100 characters or less, then you are pretty close to nailing that. Okay. You can change it. If you're the sort of person with an entrepreneurial mind that gets bored and wants to change things, you can change that. Change it every week for all I care, but change it so that it makes sense. Because if one week you're a butcher, the next week you're a baker, and the third week you're a candlestick maker, that will confuse people. And if you genuinely do all of those things, you need to find the golden thread, you know, that goes through it. It's the biggest reason that people book to work with me privately. They don't mind sitting in groups and discussing it and things like that. But a lot of the time, they want to go quickly and they want to go deeply. And that's what I can offer when I work with you as a visibility specialist on a one-to-one basis. But you need to be ready. You need to be ready. And by ready, it means making a commitment. I'm going to do this. No excuses. I'm going to go for it. So now you've got the golden thread. When it comes to the practicalities of sharing, I touched on this a little bit yesterday when I talked about the difference between demographics and psychographics. Now, demographics will tell you that they're, you know, males aged 35 to 45 that live in the north of England and who all own motorbikes, for example. Psychographics will tell you these are highly intelligent men. They've had a professional background. Maybe they've been in the military or some kind of military, so that they think in quite an analytical way. They want results quickly. They like to jump in and do things in small periods of time. You know, they don't want 2 or 3 years. They want to get it done in a month. These sorts of like characteristics, personality traits, has you laser focused in sharp on exactly who the best person is for you. But here's the really strange thing about this. When you get that crystal clear on the psychographics of the person that you're dealing with, what actually happens is, as you share on social media, as you become more visible online and offline, as you share the work that you do, it has people sit up and pay attention. Here's an analogy that I've used over quite a few years. Imagine that my hair is bright pink, and I say, look, you know, I'm a visibility specialist. I help you to put yourself out there. And the people that I work with have bright pink hair. That's kind of like a demographic. Now, if I say they have bright pink hair, but the thought process behind it is pink is a colour of a strong person who does this thing or does that thing, you start to build like a proper profile of that person. But when you start to really nail down what you do, when you say, you know, I'm a speaker coach that helps people with pink hair, people who haven't got pink hair yet will go, oh, I'd really love to have pink hair. I wonder if they can help me with that. And they start to opt in. The people with blue hair will go, well, I quite like my blue hair, but it's time for a change. I wonder if she would work with me, even though I've got blue hair, because eventually I would like to have it be pink. Now, a silly analogy, I know, but it gives the person clarity and lets them know exactly what you're about, who you're for, and what you do for them. Not what you do. I'm a coach and I do calls and I speak and I do that, but what you do for them. Help them to transform their confidence around being visible so they can be ready to be visible anytime, any place, anywhere. That packs more of a punch. So when you're sharing your stuff online, you need to have this person in mind. As I said yesterday, in such a way that you could invite them to to a dinner party and introduce them. So instead of saying, hi, this is my ideal client, look, 45-year-old from Surrey, you know, rides motorbikes and has 3 children and likes the city and likes the country at the weekends, you're now saying, you know, hey, this is my ideal client. I wanted you to meet them. They're really passionate about the work they do. They love philanthropic endeavours. They like helping out non-for-profits, and they also like working with people to empower them and inspire them to do really well. They often do this by teaching them how to make apple pies and having a sort of conversation that sticks with them so they can go on in life. And can you hear the difference? In fact, can you almost feel the difference? But 45-year-old, lives in Surrey, married with 3 children, doesn't really describe it in the same way. So I want you to get really clear on those psychographics, those personality traits, so that you can go to the place. So if your ideal client does ride motorbikes, and it's amazing when you dig into your back catalogue of clients, when you find out the similarities, the synergies that they have, it's amazing how many kind of weird coincidences tend to come up. Well, that's funny because all the clients I've had in the last year have all, you know, ridden motorbikes. So what if you were to start showing up in a motorbike magazine talking about the thing you do? It really can be as simple as that. Many people don't give it time, or they focus their market research on asking lots of people who wouldn't necessarily buy from them questions like, what do you think of my style? What do you think of my personality? What would you like to see from me? And although that's great market research, if you're a big, you know, kind of conglomerate, when you're a one-man band business, a freelancer, a consultant, you know, an author, a speaker, the most useful feedback you can get is by listening. 2 of these, 1 of those. So we come to the end of the trilogy. I hope this has been helpful for you. Remember that each trilogy, so this is the 3rd one, started on Tuesday. Tuesdays will disappear on Saturday. Wednesdays will disappear on Sunday, and this one will disappear by Monday. Now, if you made a commitment to yourself sometime before or during the pandemic that said, I'm going to be more visible, even more visible, I'm going to get out there, and you can honestly reflect back to when you said that, and you know deep down that you haven't done a thing about it, there's lots of ways that I can help you. I'd love to help you, but only if you're ready, you know. So if you want to work with me privately, please send a message to this page. I'll send you a link to schedule a call, and that call will allow me to find out what's keeping you stuck. You know, do you need to focus on the audience piece, the business piece, a combination of the two, the credibility piece, how you position your products and services? Do you really need to be more visible, or is there something else? And when I can get to that, it's a bit like when you go to the doctors and say, I've got a headache. The doctor could just write you a prescription, or could say, well, hold on a second. How much water do you drink a day? How much time do you spend outside? It's that kind of thing. Think of it like a consultation, so that I can find out a bit more about you, what you do, what you're looking to achieve, and whether this is the way forward. I want to thank you so much to those of you who've sent me messages, who have booked your calls, you know, who have been sharing about these trilogies. If you know somebody in business, whether they're getting started, they've been going for a while, and they need to know more about how to put themselves out there, especially this year. They don't want to wait until Christmas. They don't want to wait until everyone goes back to school. They don't even want to wait until the summer. They want to get started now in the spring in this hemisphere. Then point them in this direction, share this video with them, and ask them to check out my stuff across all of social media. I hope this has been helpful for you. I will be talking a bit more about a way that you can jump in the next 10 days or so, where you can have daily visibility in the time that it takes to boil a kettle. Now, some of you heard me talk about something similar at the beginning of the year, and some of you are really ready to do this now. So if that's you, then by all means, you don't like to wait, you're impatient and you want to get in there now, then schedule a call with me. Let me talk to you about what that is, and let me talk to you about what it entails. Monday to Friday, in the time that it takes to boil a kettle, for you to be more seen, more heard, more visible. Because I believe everyone's voice matters, but most of all, your voice matters. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments, Alan. Bye for now.